Don't forget to subscribe if you think you can handle the truth people disappear for. Some stories are too dark, too real, too close to the bones of what society tries to bury. This is one of them. It began with the sound of sirens slicing through the cold Colorado night. A state trooper found an abandoned black sedan parked at a service access road leading toward the restricted perimeter of ADX Florence. The driver's door was open, engine still warm, hazard lights blinking like a dying heartbeat. No license plate. No ID. No tracks leading away, as if the driver had simply dissolved into the darkness. Within hours, federal agents swarmed the scene. Not because of the car, but because of what they found locked in the trunk. A file. Sealed. Marked with one name. Marcus Vail. A former Wall Street analyst turned federal inmate, sentenced to life without parole inside America's most secure prison. Official reports said he was still inside ADX Florence, buried under solitary lockdown like the rest of them. But this file told another story. Inside were photos of a man who looked like Vail, standing outside the prison gates. Time-stamped. Dated 2 weeks earlier. Impossible. No one escapes ADX. No inmate walks out. That's the truth the world accepts. But someone tried to challenge it. FBI Special Agent Claire Donovan was assigned the case, a sharp-minded investigator with a reputation for chasing truth even when it cut. She studied the photos, each one colder than the last. Vail outside in plain clothes. Vail shaking hands with someone who wasn't identifiable. Vail disappearing into a dark-colored SUV. If these images were real, the justice system had a hole, one big enough to swallow men whole. Claire drove to Fremont County, the road long and silent under the weight of what ADX represented: 23-hour solitary confinement, fortress-thick concrete walls, motion sensors in every corridor. Cameras no inmate could evade. Every breath monitored. Every movement controlled. And yet a man sentenced to vanish forever in that place might have walked out alive. She requested Vail's status log. Daily check-ins. Medical records. Surveillance footage. But the prison's response was unnervingly precise. Too clean. Inmate Marcus Vail is in cell C-213. Status stable. Confinement routine. Not a single irregularity. Not one skipped count. No missing footage. A perfect record, too perfect for a facility known for chaos beneath steel and protocol. Claire's instincts clawed at her. Something was wrong here. She got approval to view Vail's cell through the reinforced plexiglass window. The guard swiped his badge, the heavy door groaned, and the observation lights flickered on like a stage reveal. The cell was spotless. Bed neatly made. Steel toilet polished like chrome. But there was no Marcus Vail. Only a single object placed carefully at the center of the concrete floor. A folded piece of paper. Claire's hands trembled as she unfolded it. 6 words stared back like a whisper carved in ice. "You're looking for the wrong man." The guard behind her stiffened, suddenly pale. Because he recognized the handwriting, and it wasn't Vail's. It belonged to someone else. Someone transferred to ADX a year prior. Someone infamous. Someone the public assumed was gone forever. And that name was crossed out of every file in the prison registry. That was the moment Claire realized this wasn't just one disappearance. It was the first layer of something much bigger, a cold machinery hidden behind concrete walls. And they were already watching her. The note wouldn't leave Claire's mind. "You're looking for the wrong man." Those 6 words felt like footsteps following her everywhere she went, quiet but undeniable. She spent 2 sleepless nights digging into inmate logs, transfer lists, sealed court proceedings. Someone had scrubbed names from the system, removed paper trails, edited histories as if rewriting reality itself. But one name resurfaced, again and again, like a stain bleeding through paint. Elias Caro. Former intelligence contractor. Convicted on espionage charges involving stolen federal data. Sentenced to ADX Florence and, according to public record, held in permanent isolation. But the handwriting in that cell, it was his. Claire confirmed it with archived letters Caro had written years earlier. Same stroke. Same pressure. Same cold precision. Yet the prison swore he had no access to paper, no access to pens, no communication privileges of any kind. Someone was lying. Claire gained limited clearance for a deeper internal review. She expected resistance, she didn't expect silence. Not reluctance, not hostility, but a kind of heavy, studied quiet. Every time she asked for certain files, a guard would glance at another, then give her a processed answer. Like they were reciting a script. Like the truth was something they'd been taught to bury. One evening, snow falling in thick quiet sheets across the razor-wire skyline, Claire noticed something subtle but unmistakable. A maintenance worker scanning into a restricted wing, a wing not listed on any architectural report. The door was labeled C-block sublevel access, authorized only. But according to the blueprints she had, C-block had no sublevel. Claire waited until shift rotation, then moved. Her badge didn't grant access, but she slipped in behind a departing officer when the biometric lock disengaged. Inside, the air was colder than the rest of the facility, the hallway stretching downward like a throat-swallowing light. The hum of unseen machinery vibrated through steel walls. No inmate voices. No footsteps. Just silence thick enough to choke on. She followed the hall until she reached a heavy reinforced door, unmarked except for a small brass plate. S4 Restricted Detention. Claire pressed her ear to the surface. At first, nothing. Then, faint breathing. Controlled. Calm. Someone was inside that door. She pulled out her flashlight and traced the edges. There was no latch. No keypad. Only a circular keyhole, old-fashioned, mechanical, not digital. Whoever controlled this door controlled something outside official channels. She turned to leave, but footsteps echoed behind her. Slow. Deliberate. A shadow stretched across the concrete, long and thin. Claire stepped back, adrenaline climbing. A man emerged from the darkness, not a guard, not a prisoner. A plainclothes official she'd never seen. No badge. No identification. His voice was low, steady, almost rehearsed. You're asking questions not meant to be asked. Claire steadied herself. What's in S4? He looked past her, toward the door, as if it were alive. Prisoners who were never supposed to exist, he said. Men who needed to vanish without echo. Men too dangerous for trial, too valuable to kill. Her pulse hammered. Marcus Vale was there. The stranger smiled, not with warmth, but with recognition. He wasn't the first, he whispered. And he won't be the last. Before Claire could respond, an alarm detonated through the hallway, sharp, jarring, metallic. Red lights splashed the corridor like blood. The stranger stepped back into the shadows and vanished as if he'd never been there at all. Guards stormed toward her. She raised her hands but kept thinking only one thing. If S4 held living ghosts, Marcus Vale might still be alive. And somewhere beneath ADX Florence, someone was deciding who disappeared and who returned. What happens next will change everything. The alarms didn't stop for 7 minutes. Long enough to evacuate staff, lock every corridor, seal every gate. Claire was detained, questioned, searched, but not arrested. That alone told her what she needed to know. They weren't trying to remove her. They were trying to scare her. To warn her. But fear only sharpened her resolve. She filed an emergency communication to her team, but hours later when she checked status, the report never transmitted. Not delayed, deleted. Not bounced, erased. Someone inside the chain was intercepting her work. Scrubbing evidence in real time. She wasn't investigating a prison. She was investigating an operation. 3 nights later, she returned to the facility with official authorization she shouldn't have had. It came from an unknown, encrypted department source, unsigned, untraceable. A digital key slid into her inbox with a single message. Finish what you started. Claire moved through inspection, though the guards watched her with eyes that said they knew but wouldn't speak. She scanned the key at Sector C. The sub-level door unlatched like a vault giving up secrets. The corridor was darker than before. Colder. Every step sounded like it was walking toward something irreversible. She reached S4. This time, it opened. Inside were 4 cells, shallow, windowless, silent. 3 were empty. The 4th held a man seated calmly on a metal bench, ankles chained, eyes alert like someone who'd been awake for years. He looked older than his last available photo, but unmistakably Marcus Vale. He didn't panic. He didn't beg. He just studied her face, as if deciding whether she was real. "You found the door most people pretend doesn't exist," he said quietly. His voice wasn't weak, it was measured, like someone who never wasted breath. Claire stepped closer. "How did you get out? Who's helping you?" Marcus shrugged slightly. "You don't understand. ADX doesn't hold us. It cycles us. Some men are ghosts, Agent Donovan. Used, moved, erased, replaced. We disappear so others can remain hidden." He leaned forward, chains rattling softly. "I was never the one vanishing. I was the one they wanted you to find." A chill knifed down her spine. "Then whose handwriting was in your cell?" His answer was calm. "Caro." Claire's heart pounded. Elias Caro wasn't missing, he was somewhere deeper. Still alive. Still active. Marcus exhaled slowly. "You think this is about one man? It's about all of us. Every time the world believes a criminal is locked away forever, they can trade identities, trade lives, trade usefulness. A ghost for a ghost. A disappearance for a disappearance." Suddenly, heavy boots echoed behind them. Claire turned, guards entered, but their faces held no surprise at her presence. They knew this encounter was inevitable. As Marcus was escorted out, he passed her one final time. No panic. No fear. Only a whisper. "If the world knew who replaced me, they'd never sleep again." Later, Claire was escorted off-site. No charges, no reprimand, simply dismissed. As if nothing happened. As if she had learned something she wasn't meant to carry into daylight. The next morning, she checked public inmate logs. Marcus Vale was listed back in cell C-213. Status: secure. Stable. Present. But she had spoken to him underground, watched him breathe, watched him walk away. And below the official registry, in a faint grey line nearly invisible to the eye, a new record appeared, like a ghost typing back. Elias Caro, location unknown. The truth was there, buried in pixels and concrete. Some prisoners never leave ADX. Some are released into shadows the world never sees. And some disappear because someone else must take their place. If you think this story was intense, you're not ready for the next one. Hit subscribe, you'll want to hear what comes next.